Bro, when I tell you that I just lost 10 minutes of footage, I'm pissed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Before We Run Out of Battery with your host, Hannah. I have filmed this 10,000 times. Insane. The amount of things that have run out of battery, by the way, that's not what this is called at all. It might as well be though because I'm running on 7% battery. My phone died and I lost 10 minutes of footage, and the other half of this video is going to be from a different point of view in the camera because I had to literally rearrange myself into an area where I could charge the microphone, which I don't know how long we have with this microphone, my phone, and the thing that connects the microphone Bluetoothing to the phone. So pretty much this has been very chaotic. But I do talk about a very important topic and something that I think everybody can relate to, no matter your age and what generation you're in. So hopefully you guys really enjoy this. Because it's taken a few takes at this point for me to film it. Um, but yes, I also in one of the footages that got erased, I wrote down some key points that I want to go into so that I don't just rant. So this is very organized now because I was gonna just raw dog it and just speak my mind, but structure is sometimes good. Not for the topic of this video necessarily. We're going to literally kind of go against that, but it'll be entertaining. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the little intro. So, at this point, I don't even know what the topic is. I was talking about how if you're single, no matter what age you are in your life, this is ageless, I promise. Um, enjoy your time alone to know yourself and understand who you are, and then that will allow you to realize what you even want in another person and what you don't want. And it's okay if you want to date, like you can date around, get to know people, and that'll help you kind of process of elimination the things that you do and don't want in your life. And I think that could be very helpful. But um girl, let me sit back because why am I all up in your face? But I also was talking about how listening to podcasts was something that really helped me, and listening to other people's point of view, especially some of like, well, pretty much everybody that I listen to is way like it's older than me. So I think you could really learn from that. But that doesn't really matter because everybody has their own life experience, and that's the whole point of this. There is no point of you having and following this imaginary timeline because everybody has their own life, their own journey, and their own timeline. So, why are you comparing yourself to this system that was human made years ago and like that literally no longer is accessible to the typical person? I'm freezing. So, I'm probably gonna have to yell because my microphone ran out of battery, so I have no idea if you can hear me or if you can even hear me clearly right now. Hopefully you can. But I'm just gonna go on with this video. We're just gonna do it all natural. All natural, no equipment, just me to the camera. Because at this point, it's not gonna work that other way. That is exactly what we're talking about this video, which I've said 1,000 times. Things don't always go how you want them to, and you just have to pivot, improvise, if you will. So, that actually goes into the first key point in my topic is to stop having expectations. So I've talked about this in the past. I think the very first podcast episode that I filmed, I talked about like not fitting into the norms or like a specific box and things, and just being versatile. That was like the whole thing there that I was going for, which, yeah, pretty much. So stop having expectations. In life, a lot of times we have expectations. It's like human nature to have them. We try to control things and try to have things being a certain way. And then when they don't happen that way, we're disappointed. So it's best to just not have expectations. You can have an idea of something and be like, okay, well, I would like for this to happen. But if it doesn't happen exactly how you want it to, don't freak out. Because you know what? Hey, at least it happened. Which is brings me to the next point, which is to let go of control over things. And for someone like me, that was very difficult because I was somebody that liked to control pretty much every aspect of my my life. Not ever anybody else, but for me, I was like, well, I'm me. I have control over my life. So things have to go this way. And when they didn't go as planned, I would crash out. So I learned that you have to control the things that you can and let the rest in the hands of the universe or God, whatever you believe in. That's the best way to like mentally cope, because sometimes we can't do it all. Okay? So just let them, like Mel would say, let it be, let them, and let yourself do what you can. Don't worry about the rest. The rest will figure itself out. I promise. And yeah, I don't remember if I like finished talking about this. I don't want to like repeat it. But at some point in one of the footages, I spoke about how like I thought about how I'm young and I'm in my 20s, and a lot of people are freaking out because they're in their 20s and they haven't dated, or they're not in a relationship, or it's like not working out for them, and they're like, okay, but like I want to have kids, I want to settle down, I want to get married, and like all this stuff. And there's a timeline, especially if you are a woman and you want to have like a biological child and you want to carry that child, or whatever, like if you just want to carry a pregnancy, there is a specific time frame that is healthy and that is more likely for you to be able to get pregnant and like have a child that way. But there are other options, and like I said, sometimes in life things don't go like you envision them to. But let's say, for example, let's say your goal is you really want to be a mom. For example, me, I want to be a mom. And I'm aware that it's not going to be super simple for me. But I know that for me, I've never wanted to carry a child. I've never wanted to be pregnant. I had never felt any particular like want of that, but I do want children. So for me, I don't mind adopting, I don't mind surrogacy, I don't mind none of that. So that's what works for me. Now I'm gonna get into where this all in my timeline and how that correlates. But let's say, for example, you really want to have kids and you're at a point where you're like, well, I don't want to settle, because this is something that I feel like a lot of people do in their 20s and even their 30s. It doesn't, like I said, doesn't have an age. A lot of people settle and marry someone and have kids with somebody just because they've been with that person throughout a specific time. And this was something that like I saw on TikTok, that a lot of people, like when they're like 25 or like in their early 20s, they'll get married to somebody that they've been with for a certain amount of years, because they're like, well, I want to have kids by 25 and I've been dating you, so I'm just gonna have a kid with you. And then later on they end up like breaking up, whatever, because whatever. And the theory was like before 25, so like before your frontal lobe developed or whatever. Some people are even saying before 30, so like, girl, at this point, it is what it is. And that doesn't mean that everybody's relationship isn't gonna work, obviously, but I feel like there's certain factors that tie into why that happens. And it's the fact that people are scared of not meeting that timeline quote. And honey, life is not an assignment, it's a project, but like many projects, sometimes things are delayed, sometimes things are advanced. It happens. But it doesn't have a due date. You don't even know when you're due. You don't know when you're due to kick the bucket. So why are you putting all these, I have to do this by this and that and that? Girl, you're just gonna disappoint yourself twice. I'm not saying you can't have goals. Absolutely have goals. But just don't really worry about the time frame. Don't worry about the timeline. Time isn't even real, bro. Like, so we can't control that. It's not even real. I'm gonna come back to this point that I had mentioned earlier, which was with me and how I never wanted to like give birth to kids or whatever. Figure out your own timeline, because a lot of the time we're trying to fit this mold that was set 50, 60 years ago, where people were like buying houses at 18 and stuff. And if you're doing that right now, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing, because the majority of us, we can't do that. So being realistic here, it's not something that most of us in this era can really afford to do. But not just kids, I'm gonna talk about like marriage and partnership and career and stuff like that. So a lot of times, and like at our age, we're expected to know what we want to do for the future, what career we want to go into. And most people change their majors so many times, like a lot of times. And there's different factors that go into that, but it's basically you figuring things out in your 20s and at any age, really. I'm gonna keep saying that because some people think that their life is over in their 30s. They're like, I'm just gonna settle down with this person because, like, the chill dude or whatever. Like, this is a nice person. They have a job. They're independent. So, why not? I can't be picky at this point. I'm in my 40s. Babe, what? So because you're in your 40s, you're gonna settle for someone that is perfect on paper, but deep down, perhaps this isn't your person? What? And I've seen this from every age group. I've seen this for teenagers. I've seen this for people in their 20s, people in their 30s, people in their 40s, 50s, whatever. They will literally settle down for whoever is in front of them because they don't want to be lonely. They don't want to be alone. They want someone. They want something. So they're interested in something that this person has and not so much the person, which brings issues in the future. Because it's like the whole thing of like people being like, oh, well, if you're like dating somebody for the money and you're not in love with them, then obviously you're not going to be with that person forever, because eventually that's not going to be enough. And sure, but some people, their love is money. And if you're in love with money, this is horrible advice. If you're in love with money and that person gives you money, then you're in love with, I'm just kidding. But choose love, not interests. Bro, not actually, but low-key I'm pissed because the sound quality wasn't even bad. The video was actually great that I just filmed without the microphone in this weird awkward angle where you're sitting on top of my makeup. What's it called? Girl, I was about to call this a beauty blender. That whole sentence was crazy. Not that. Where do you do your makeup? Oh my god, this is gonna bother me so much. This is gonna piss me off. Anyways, back on topic. So I was talking about don't settle. Doesn't matter what age you're at, don't settle. Why would you settle? That is so like icky. It's so sad. And this is coming from someone that's like, I would rather be alone the rest of my life. and find somebody in the next lifetime. I do not want to live another lifetime. Besides the point, I would rather spend my whole life just feeling the love that I want and probably like imagining it or whatever, rather than settling for somebody that doesn't give me that. And I don't want a fucking like fairy tale princess, like whatever storyline. It's really not that crazy. Like, my standards are not that high, I promise. I have standards, but they're not something that can't be met because I meet them. And it took me forever to realize that too. I was like, girl, when your friends were telling you that your type is you, they didn't mean like literally you. They mean like, I mean, they probably did low-key, but I thought about it and I was like, huh, this whole time I'm having standards for people that I like, that are my standards, and that are things that I would do in this situation. You know what I mean? So I was like taken aback. I was like, oh, I literally do have this within. That's crazy. And you're just gonna have to figure that out on your own. I can't even tell you that. Because for me, it was a aha moment. And this is something, why is it always the things that are told to us 1,000 times that all of a sudden on a random Tuesday we're like, oh my god, that is so true. Like, girl, you heard it 1,000 times. Don't act brand new. But hey, you gotta figure it out for yourself. But yes, figure your timeline. So for me, for the longest time, obviously when I was younger, I had this beautiful thing. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna, get older and meet the love of my life, and I'm gonna get married, and I'm gonna have a big family. I'm gonna have like 5 kids, 100 kids. Who was gonna tell her? And as I got older, I realized I don't really crave to be pregnant. Pregnancy scares me, like the whole thing about it, and giving birth, like, oh, could not be me. I 100% support, and like women, bro, like moms and like just people that give birth and get pregnant, like, girl, I will give you all the cookies, all the stars on that. But me personally, could not be me. That is why, like, I feel like they're the strongest people ever, because you literally like birthed a whole human. That's insane to me. That's like so cool, and like you're the strongest person ever. But it was never something that I wanted to do, and it took me obviously a long time to like admit that to myself, because it's like, girl, how else are you gonna have kids? This was before like IVF was like such a big topic, and like, because I was like, I don't know, I mean, and I thought, obviously for the longest time I was like, what guy is gonna want to like adopt? Like, there's such a huge amount of like people that don't even want that. Like, it's not even like about men, like there's women that don't want that either. So I was like, oh, like, what, how is that gonna work out? It's the same thing with people that don't want to have kids. There used to be a lot of people that really wanted to have kids, so I'm sure for them at some point it was like more difficult to like find someone. Nowadays I've realized that a lot of people don't want to have kids, which I'm like, what? It's shocked me, because my whole life it was the other way around, where like most people wanted to have kids, and then there was a select few that didn't, and everybody was like, why don't you want to have kids? I mean, still people do judge, but that's besides the point. I definitely want to have kids. I'm not sure if I'm gonna end up having 5. That's, I don't know. that I don't know about all that, but I definitely am having kids, regardless of if I end up with someone or not. I'm having children. That's that. But with that being said, I am open to the different possibilities now, and I realized you don't have to give birth to children to have children. There's so many ways now to have kids, which I'm grateful for, because that is so helpful for literally everybody, the different accessibilities. But yeah, and I think that's really important when like figuring out like your timeline and stuff, and like your own journey, because it's like, some people, like, they get sad about the fact that, for example, they're infertile, they can't have kids, you know, the usual way. um but like there's other options. There's surrogacy, there's IVF, there's like different things, there's adoption, and a lot of these options are costly, but there's like loopholes and ways to get around these things if like you do your research and stuff, that you can figure out how to like get around it. And then another thing for me was like marriage. My whole life, girl, you would have asked me, girl, I'm waiting for my soulmate. I'm waiting for the one. I don't have time to be wasted with these random people. If I don't see you at the altar, I'm not gonna entertain you. That was my mindset for the longest time. Longest time. And now I'm like, girl, I don't even know if I'd get married. Like, low key, I'm like, that's crazy. That's really crazy. Like, you don't really, I believe that you don't have to get married to be like fully in love with someone and to have a great life with that person and to have a partnership. Fully on that wheel. Do I still want to get married? Yes. Yes, I do. And I would only get married once in my life. I couldn't do that twice. No. Cannot be me. But I would do it once and hope that it lasts forever. And if it doesn't, then I would just be with someone and like not get married. Because I do like the marriage thing. I like the celebration, I like the ceremony, I like the sharing of vows. I would like to be married before I decide to have children with someone. So I do have my own timeline on that. But like not necessarily. But it does open up things more, because I'm like, okay, well, I get to choose who I want to marry, and then we get to choose when we are going to have kids, and I don't have to worry about a biological timeline because I don't even want to give birth to kids. So I'm good, girl. When I realized that, girl, I was like, oh, phew, weight lifted off my shoulders, because I realized that life doesn't have to be how everybody has lived it or whatever, you know, which not everybody has, but whatever. There goes other things, career-wise. Everybody's like, you have to have everything figured out by your 20s, because like, what do you mean you don't know what you want to do? You're literally 20, you have to go to college. No, you don't. There's people in their 40s that are going to law school, that just started going to law school. There's people with grandkids in their 50s and 60s that are like, you know what, I want to study something. I'm bored. I don't have anything else to do. Might as well pick up on psychology. I was always interested in it, never pursued it, but now I want to. There is no timeline for your own journey, for your own life. Literally just do it. Stop worrying about these things. Stop worrying about stuff that it doesn't matter. Figure out a way. You want it, figure out how to get it. Okay? Because if you don't, it's not just gonna fall in your lap. You have to do something. Like, come on now. And obviously not everybody is like content with those things. Like, for example, let's say you are someone that does want to have a biological like child, and you want to give birth to that child, like you want the whole pregnancy experience, and you're like, well, but I do want that. Girl, there's IVF, because if you really wanted that, does it really matter how you get it? You know what I mean? And that's the real tea. When people are like, oh, like I want to be a successful business owner. Okay, that's great. Plan it out. Literally write it down. Write down, what do you have to do in order to be that successful business owner? Doctor, nurse, lawyer, whatever it is. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that it's not going to take time or energy or effort, or you're gonna have to figure it out around your life because you have kids, or because you're pregnant, or because you're single and alone and you need to take care of yourself and your dog and cat, I don't know, whatever the case may be for you, there is a way to figure it out. There always is. And if you can't find it, ask somebody else to do it. Ask ChatGPT, girl, I don't know, but figure it out, because this is your life. So choose how you want to live it, despite everything. There's people that they think, oh, I'm too old to go back to school. Like, there's people that think I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. And even people in their 20s can think this too. Like, you can be like 25 and you're like, dude, I'm seriously still gonna go get an associate's? That's crazy. Like, I'm gonna just meet freshmen from like high school. First of all, everybody that goes to college, they're minding their business. I don't know about universities because I never really did that. I haven't done that yet. But for the most part, everybody's focused on their self and their own anxieties and trying to get through school. So they're not worried about what you're doing. I went to college and I saw like people that were at least in their 50s and 60s going to school for degrees and stuff. And I was like, that is so cool. That is so admirable that you're literally doing that right now, because that's amazing. And my favorite were obviously the moms that like had kids or that were pregnant. Like, so amazing. Because you know what? Let's say you're a single parent and you're in your 40s, I don't know, and you always really wanted to teach. You can either start studying, which, by the way, school has so many options now. You can do online, live, in person. There's so many options. You have no excuse. You go to these classes, you study for a few years, and you do whatever you have to do to get that degree. And I'm not just talking about degrees, I'm talking about everything in life, really. You focus on that, you set the plan, literally grab a piece of paper and right now, exercise of the day, write down one thing that you want to achieve or that you've always wanted to achieve and you've put it off. I'm going to show you how manifestation works right now. So let's do it. Write down in as few steps as you possibly can exactly everything that you have to do in order to achieve that thing. For example, let's say I want to be a therapist. I have to get my associates. I can do that between 1 and 2 years. After that, I have to get my bachelor's, 1 and 2 years. Then I have to get a master's, about 2 years. Now, when you see all of that, it's going to seem like a lot. But when you start and you get that associates and then you notice, girl, I'm already doing my bachelor's. All of a sudden, you'll be doing your master's degree. You'll graduate. You'll become a therapist. Obviously, there's more to that, but whatever, you get the point. It seems like a lot when you look at it at first and you're like, oh my god, I'm so old. I shouldn't be doing this right now. Girl, if not now, when? You do not want to be sitting in that hospital bed because hopefully you live a very long life and you will die of old age or whatever. You do not want to sit there and think, God, I regret not traveling the world. I regret not becoming a lawyer. I regret not giving it a chance. You don't want to have those regrets. So if you want to do it, do it. I don't care if it's texting your ex. And yes, I'm going to say it because I know that a lot of people, when they go to those manifestation videos and tarot readings and stuff, it's always about love. Because it's something that humans crave so much. We crave so much attention. But basically, if you want to text your ex and you're blocked, figure it out. Send them a mail. Send them a letter in the mail. Maybe that's a little insane. Maybe don't do that. But like, I don't know. There's always a way. When there's a will, there's a way. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be insane. Hopefully nobody takes that advice, or maybe they do, I don't know. My final take is basically, when you get what you want, are you gonna worry about how you got it or how long it took to get it? You might look back at it and be like, wow, this happened so fast. Or like, I can't believe I like doubted myself at first, or like I should have started earlier maybe. Like you might have those thoughts, but 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna look back and be like, oh, I wish I would have gone like a different way. No, girl, at this point you're just grateful that it happened. So it doesn't really matter how you get there. If it's something that you truly want, as long as you achieve it, you're good. You're good. Trust me. So I'm gonna end this here. Let me know in the comments if you like this video or don't. Doesn't matter. But hopefully you resonated with something. So hopefully something touched you and you felt inspired or understood, or I don't know, because I made this thinking of everyone, literally. I was like, okay, what is something that I feel like society is like struggling with and needs to be talked about more? And I really thought about this topic because I feel like it's something that everybody can connect with. And I see it a lot with the younger generation. We try to push ourselves and we overwork ourselves to try to essentially just have the lives that we want. And it's so difficult, but not impossible. And I see the older generation that a lot of times people kind of give up and like want to settle for things. And I'm like, girl, no. You still have time. If there's tomorrow, you have time. So yes, don't settle. No, never settle, queens. Never settle. We don't do that. That is a bad word. We do not settle for less than what we deserve. We settle for more. Alright, with that being said, goodbye. Take care. Drink water. Be fabulous. Be fearless. Be amazing. Oh my god, and please share if you wrote down or thought of something that you wanted to go after and you're gonna start working towards it, or you already have. Please like comment down below, because like I really like want to like be like, period, you did that. Start it. Just start it. It'll come together afterwards. I literally took forever to film this video. It figured itself out, and I look great while doing it. Bye.